tell me you don't understand Tolkien without telling me you don't understand Tolkien. This idiot will go first.
There's been a whole lot of discourse about how the new Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power series doesn't exactly live up to the expectations and what Tolkien had in his mind. And I say good, because I don't know about you guys, but I really don't want the worldview of someone who was born in the late 1800s to be what dictates what I watch on TV in the year of our Lord 2022. When you do adaptations of people's worlds, that's what they are there for. Adaptations. You fill in the holes and racist bigotry that they had when they wrote this stuff in the 1950s. I mean, Tolkien was working on these books at a time when black people weren't allowed in the same establishment as white people in the United States because of segregation. And I don't want society to go back to then, and I sure as hell don't want our creative output to go back to the ideas of that time. I mean, hell, Tolkien taught at Oxford University, a place that is so blatantly racist that R.F. Kong had to write an entire book about it. Go check out Babel. So fuck what Tolkien would have wanted or what he thought of The Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth. It's ours now. We're making it. We're gonna make it reflect real life, not his white power fantasy that he wrote about.
I keep seeing this debate, and it's not even a debate, it's people screaming into the void of people who do not understand the fundamentals of Tolkien work or literature, coming in with hot takes and coming in with these kind of weird opinions that are really unrelated to the works they're creating. The myth that Tolkien was a racist, the myth Tolkien is the bad guy, the myth that Tolkien is a bad writer seems to be a common thread in this sort of push of this narrative and weaponization of this narrative is fascinating to witness, but also really sad. Fundamentally, Tolkien is the backbone of modern fantasy, and I keep seeing this argument of, well, we need to tell our own story, we need to tell a modern story, but why not write the goddamn thing? If you're so concerned with modernity, why not write it yourself? Because I keep seeing this narrative that we need to change works to make them fit us. And then what happens is, and this great meme, is that the new people come in and they're like, well, this is problematic, we need to change this to fit us. And then the original fans get screamed at for being the gatekeepers and being toxic, when it's them who want to change the fundamental basis of this work. What these people fail to realise is that ultimately Tolkien belongs to Tolkien. And with his death, it belongs to the fans. But when you see people making these inane comments and TikToks and tweets and like, well, it's mythology, it's fantasy, you can do whatever you want. Well, no, it's a mythology. It's a mythology of missing mythology of Anglo-Saxon Britain. There is a historical basis for Tolkien's work, despite being fantasy. These kind of takes not only prove that most of these people who are screaming about this stuff are idiots, but they're also hypocrites, which I find funny as hell, because the same people that scream that Amazon is evil, that Amazon is this evil corporation, we mustn't support it, are literally jizzing themselves on the internet over the Rings of Power, and it's absolutely shameful behaviour. And then you have the shills, and then you have all the other people who are coming in and trying to gatekeep the Lord of the Rings from Lord of the Rings fans. And you know what's going to be even funnier? When BookTube attempts to read Lord of the Rings. BookTube itself is like this YA hellhole of bad hot takes and over-politicising everything and lack of literary comprehension. So I do wonder what's going to happen when BookTube start getting in there and reading these books, because I keep looking at it and thinking, are these the people that you really need in this fandom? The problem is, these new people come in and they think they know everything. Oh, I watched a couple of clips on the internet. Oh, I read an essay. I read this article by this feminist teacher. No. Please stop doing that. Don't do that stuff. Read the letters of Tolkien. That's the big one. Read his bloody letters and essays. These amazing pieces of work that really do give you an insight into the man and his thoughts and opinions and his process. This sort of bizarre obsession with white supremacy and racism that seems to be infecting the modern media. And I love the fact that it's the racists that are apparently review bombing Tolkien and criticising it. But it's strange how that narrative isn't being pushed for the House of the Dragon. I say that because it's quite interesting, the approach they've taken. Pretty much everyone has been very silent, barring a virtue signalling interview piece where there was too many white people. It's funny how the difference here, and it's almost like playing let's attack the fans roulette, and it's kind of pathetic at this point because we're not falling for it anymore. You can't guilt us into watching your show and saying it's good. And I've seen a lot of people who think they should support this show because apparently, you know, it's stunning and brave. Well, like I said, if you're so obsessed with modernity, why not write your own thing? You know, they could have adapted Oblivion. I mean, that series would have, Elder Scrolls, I should say, they could have got away with that one if they wanted to do a POC story. They also could have done a whole section of Middle-earth. People of colour exist in Middle-earth. They're not in anything they have the rights to. You know, the appendices. So I do find this sort of obsession with this kind of narrative not only worrying but sad. And it's sad watching a legacy of someone get ripped apart and destroyed by a bunch of morons who don't have the reading comprehension to understand what they're talking about. It is a shame. It is kind of pathetic. And we're going to see this more and more. But like I said, if you're so obsessed with modernity, why not adapt a modern piece? Why not write something original? It's not hard, believe it or not. And I've said this notion that fantasy is a racist genre I find just bizarre as well. Like, have you not read fantasy? Do you not understand what fantasy is in both film media and written genre? How stupid can people be at this point that this is their obsession? If you want to tell a story that is modernity like this guy, then create something now. Don't desecrate brilliant works that are the backbone of modern fantasy. I mean, between Tolkien and Robert E. Howard, they're the grandfathers of fantasy. And it's sad to see this kind of trickle-down and destruction of these works. I've said this, my theory is Amazon doesn't care about the works. They never wanted the works. They just wanted the names. Oh, we have an existing IP, we can do whatever we want in it, and the fans are going to eat it up. And if they attack us or tell us it's bad, they are the problem. What about your bad cheesy writing and the fact that the ratings are not even coming close to the House of Dragons, or the House of the Dragon? I keep being told off for that. It's a habit. There's a book. I just wonder what's going to happen next, and I wonder how much of a mess this is going to cause. But seriously, I do wish people would just sit down, do some basic research. It's not hard to find this stuff, rather than listening to fluff pieces and virtue signalling actors who are absolutely trash on the internet. Why not do your own research and make your own opinion, rather than pushing a narrative that you obviously don't understand? See what I mean? I wasn't going to do this video, but I felt like I had to. So I will talk to you guys later.